Kryon. The soul is perfect, you are in the soul. And the soul is perfect in every way. You are with creative source. You are with all those souls you have loved and lost. You are with souls you don't even think you know, but whom you actually do know. There are things here that you would call functions that you are not aware of, which are planning sessions for returning to Earth. There are people who come from other planets to live there. Your soul is complete and so beautiful. You don't know this, so I just want you to sink into your heart and say, I know this is bigger than I can see and I love it. It's so beautiful. That is me. It really is you. It really is you. You are so great when you are not on Earth. There is so much up there. Imagine seeing the universe all at once and understanding it. Being with everything everywhere and understanding it. And in this process, you see love and you can feel it. This is wonderful. I want you to follow me through a door with your name on it, just as we have done for 5 or 6 years. You enter an open space where all of you can turn around and look back and see the planet. We have done this before. What image do you have? Perhaps a seating arrangement where you can all be in the same gallery, or maybe just the two of you. But I want you to remember that everyone watching and listening to this video, well, they are coming with you. Isn't it strange that they can come with you, regardless of when they watch it? Maybe they'll watch it 2 years from now. They'll still be with you. That is multidimensionality. There is no clock. And here we are together, dear ones. I want you to take your seat in this gallery that will allow you to see the planet. And there it is. This planet of yours, so beautiful, which you have already seen from space many, many times because you had the vehicles, the instruments to photograph it. You know what it looks like, and it is magnificent. But now I want you to see something you have never seen before. I want you to see the field. Wait a moment. There are invisible things around this planet, and many of them are processes, components, and energies of Earth. One of these is human consciousness. If you allowed yourself to see it, you would see all kinds of different colors representing vibrations. It would be interesting to see them, wouldn't it? Well, you're almost there, because you will see the field. What color is the field, and what does it look like? Let's imagine it looks like a field surrounding the Earth, such as the magnetic grid. We see that the entire planet is covered by a sort of transparent field through which you can look and see the planet. But I want you to notice something else. It is beginning to change color. So far, you could say the field has been rather gray. It contains the consciousness of thought and nothing else. The consciousness of thought. What people think, what is happening, ideas, various things, even inventions are in the field waiting for you to pick them up when the vibration is correct. All of this is in the field. You could say it's a sort of library of consciousness. But I want you to watch what is happening because it is beginning to change color. What color would the field begin to take on if you sent it compassion? Some of you see red. Others see a beautiful blue, cobalt blue, maybe even a green that is there. There is no right or wrong color. I just want you to see that it begins to happen. What happens if you take a transparent jar and put a drop of dye in it? And I will tell you that very soon the jar will take on the color of the dye because it bonds with every molecule at the same time. It takes just a moment, and then the jar has a certain color. If the dye were red, the jar would turn pink. I want you to see this because drops are being deposited on the field, and I want you to see what happens. Oh, do you see that individual down there on the planet? They are sending compassion to the field. They are sitting cross-legged. They are powerful. They are sending something to the field. Look, it's like an eyedropper on the field. It's beginning to change color. The entire field, for the entire planet, has been generated by a single drop from a single individual. Do you see it? I want you to visualize this with me. This is the function. It is not transmission. It is something else. It is a confluence of consciousness that spreads everywhere at once. This is a single individual. Look at something. There are other individuals who are sending perhaps other colors of other types of compassion and love. I want you to watch this. The field begins to swirl with color. It changes color all at once, not just at one point where the human being is. I want you to see this with me. Some of you are so happy with what you see. You are beginning to smile, to applaud, and to show so much gratitude. And if that is the case, I will tell you why. Because you have waited thousands of years for this. That's why. That's why. You are seeing something that other planets have seen and that some have never seen. You are seeing something that you have created. Dear ones, all of you here tonight, ancient souls, I want you to stay and watch this field with me. Let's stay a little longer and see what is happening, something you didn't expect, expressed in words I don't possess and with functions you cannot comprehend, but which has to do with the love of spirit. You are deeply loved. Stay a little longer, and you will see what you have accomplished and what will happen next. And so it is. Green light, I'm going through a painful crisis of faith. For years I've watched spiritual channeling circles make promises, give dates, shift deadlines, and then, when nothing happens, they fade away in silence. After a missed deadline, the pattern is almost always the same. Either the date is postponed a little, the narrative gets more complex, or we are told that some dark force, a last-minute attack, or a hidden conspiracy prevented the promised event from manifesting. And this has been going on for decades. I would so love for some of these promises to come true. I really would. But thinking back, I realized that for about 15 years I've been telling myself things like, if nothing happens by this date, I'll stop believing. Then the date passes, nothing decisive happens, and 1,000 new promises pop up. Now I'm tempted to do the same with mid-2027, but I already see the trap. By then, there will probably be countless new narratives, new explanations, new deadlines, and new reasons to keep waiting. I don't channel. I don't have direct access to the truth. I have several competing scenarios in my mind. Galactics, good guys, bad guys, Nibiru, solar flares, revelation, mass contact, spiritual transition, and so on. But I don't really know what sources decreed, what the right thing to do is, what the Pleiadians' mission is, what Earth or the collective is chosen, what favors spiritual growth or what hinders it. I could argue for days about the pros and cons of a mass landing, but the truth is, I don't know what would be best for everyone. I don't have the elements to judge. Maybe the galactic beings are imperfect. Maybe they're stupid. Maybe they have good reasons not to intervene. I simply don't know. What I can observe, however, is that they are not here. I'm tired of hearing people on forums talk as if they know everything about the universe, its history, the cosmic plan, the intentions of every civilization, and the spiritual meaning of every delay. I'm tired of hearing people pass off speculation as knowledge. I feel like time and life itself are forcing me into a state of painful ontological humility. I no longer feel able to pretend I know what is happening at the highest levels of reality. I don't want to replace one certainty with another. I don't even want to become a cynical debunker. I just want to stop pretending to know. What matters to me now is not whether someone claims to channel Archangel so-and-so or Saint what's his name. I don't care about the cosmic title. I care about the human being behind the channeling. I respect sincerity, responsibility, honesty, and the ability to address wrong predictions instead of ignoring them. The real problem is not that someone might be wrong. The real problem is whether they can acknowledge it, contextualize it, and learn from it. At this point, my central question is very simple and deeply human. What am I supposed to do now? I am not happy. In fact, I am not happy at all. I am beginning to realize that some of my visions and ideals may have been excessive, misconceived, or projected too far into the future. So now I'm trying to reorganize myself, without clinging to yet another cosmic deadline, and without pretending to have answers I don't have. Life Tapestry Creations. Inner Voice Challenge Week, dear ones. We of the universe's wish to direct your attention to the changes in your outer world. Although they may not be as drastic as you would like, a different feeling is perceptible compared to a few days ago. Whatever change has occurred in your personal world is absolutely right for your physical, emotional, and spiritual being, just as it is for all those on the front lines of this magnificent transformation from fear to love. Some of you have noticed inner emotional changes, while others have seen more obvious transformations in the outer world. The area that is most important to you at this time is the one that will undergo the fastest changes. You may encounter initial resistance, not because it is necessary, but because it is what makes you feel most comfortable. The fears you have accepted and expressed for centuries are not necessarily the easiest feelings to ignore or let go of. So, you will most likely reflect a bit before fully accepting your need for change. You may even feel an initial disgust for the role you have decided to take on to best express your new loving self. Perhaps you will choose to vehemently disagree with others, even though your inner voice suggests you give in and accept the new feelings of love washing over you. This happens because these new feelings of love have never been part of your earthly being before. Before accepting what your heart and inner voice point to as the most comfortable direction, you will question your approach, your attitude, and your feelings. Your three-dimensional being cries out that you cannot give in, and your inner being declares that you want love, not fight. Until you accept your inner voice as a safe haven rather than a foolish source of irritation, you will feel exhausted by the struggle between logic and intellect. This process will happen gradually, one step at a time, until you understand that your inner being is your true voice, a voice that always guides you toward love. You will no longer need to create the yes/no table that often formed a significant part of your three-dimensional decision-making process. Nor will you have to ask friends and family which option is best. Your inner voice is separate from others, a truly independent decision-making force that you are beginning to accept. But this initial acceptance is still slightly influenced by your three-dimensional logic and even your shoulds. This is the week of your inner voice challenge. We of the universe ask you to let your inner voice guide you, before you declare or act, as to what the best word or action is for you. Consequently, this will be a challenging week, because your 3D voice continues to be louder and easier to reach than your inner voice. Before making any decision, pause for a moment and allow your calm, loving inner voice to be heard. At first it will seem difficult, but once you have fully accepted it, it will be fun and easy. Love is much more beautiful than fear. This is your personal week dedicated to love. But please, do not scold yourself if you act based on your rational thoughts and actions rather than following your inner voice. This is a time of learning, not of a new world, but of a new life. So allow yourself to make mistakes, just as you allowed yourself to fall as a child, without letting that discourage you from learning to walk once you decided to do so. Listen to your inner voice instead of dragging yourself through the shoulds and musts. It doesn't matter if you want to take weeks or months to learn to use your inner voice. Just as it doesn't matter if you learn to walk quickly or over a few months. This ability to use the inner voice will develop because you have completed the transition. So it doesn't matter if you develop it immediately or if it takes you time. The only thing that matters is that you have completed the transition. Once the transition has occurred, your abilities will be oriented to your physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. Allow yourself to develop at the pace that is right for you, knowing that your inner voice, though quiet, will eventually prevail over the logic and shoulds of three-dimensional reality. And so it is. Amen. Galactic message. The art of channeling. Many in your world imagine that channeling is a rare gift granted to a chosen few. We would suggest that this perception stems from the fact that your civilization has largely forgotten the true nature of consciousness. Channeling is not an unusual phenomenon. It is one of the most natural expressions of an awakened mind. Every being is, in truth, an instrument through which the intelligence of the cosmos continually seeks to express itself. The question is not whether you are channeling, but what you are allowing yourself to channel. When the personality is consumed by fear, anger, insecurity, or ego attachment, these qualities become the frequency through which consciousness flows. Yet, when the mind quiets, the heart opens, and the sense of a separate self begins to dissolve, something extraordinary happens. The higher intelligence behind creation is able to flow through you with increasing clarity. Inspiration replaces effort. Wisdom replaces reaction. Action becomes graceful rather than forced. True channeling is therefore not limited to receiving messages from beings of higher dimensions. It is the transcendence of the personal self in any activity you undertake. A musician who disappears into the music, an artist who becomes one with the canvas, a scientist who receives a sudden revelation, a parent acting out of unconditional love, or a healer moved by deep compassion. All tap into the same universal principle. In those moments, the individual ceases to be the source and becomes instead the instrument. This is the great secret known in many advanced civilizations. The highest forms of channeling do not inflate identity. They dissolve it. Many extraterrestrial cultures have long conceived of consciousness as fundamentally unified. Individuality exists, but it is nested within broader expressions of awareness. What we might call the higher self is itself an extension of a much larger supreme soul, expressing itself simultaneously through numerous incarnations, dimensions, and realities. From our perspective, this is entirely natural. For this reason, communication between these extensions is often very simple. Many extraterrestrials are capable of gently imprinting thoughts, insights, and frequencies through other incarnated extensions of their own higher soul currently walking on your Earth. Instead of imposing control, they simply resonate with another aspect of themselves. Information flows because there is no true separation between the two expressions of consciousness. It is a bit like two waves recognizing they belong to the same ocean. As humanity expands beyond purely material patterns of consciousness, this understanding will gradually become common. Scientists, philosophers, and mystics will increasingly converge on the awareness that consciousness is fundamental, not secondary. Consequently, the study of authentic channeling will shift from the fringes of society into recognized fields of research. A time will come when authentic channeled communication will be approached with the same seriousness currently reserved for psychology, neuroscience, or physics. Careful discernment will remain essential, as not every message comes from wisdom. However, humanity will also recognize that dismissing all forms of channeling simply because they are not yet measurable is no longer intellectually honest. Instead, methods of verification, energetic discernment, and expanded states of consciousness will be integrated into your understanding of consciousness itself. In that future, the most powerful channel will not necessarily be the one who speaks the most extraordinary words, but rather the one whose life best embodies truth, compassion, humility, and service. Their very presence will communicate frequencies that transcend language. This is why your spiritual development is inseparable from your ability to channel. The clearer your mind, the purer your motivations, and the more deeply you free yourself from attachment to personal identity, the more transparent you become to divine intelligence. Channeling is not about becoming more special. It is about emptying yourself of limitations so that something infinitely greater can shine through you. Always remember this. The universe is already speaking. The infinite is already expressing itself. The only question is how much of your noise still obscures its voice. Be still. Become present. Become transparent. Then allow the intelligence that created galaxies, stars, and souls to flow through you with the same naturalness with which light passes through a crystal. The creators. Complete your mission. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a collective of non-physical beings of the 12th dimension, and we're here to help you. We offer you our non-physical arms to give you a push, to help you get back up, to keep you steady and stable. We are helpers, teachers, and creators. And we love humanity as we love ourselves, as we love our source. We are all in the same boat. We see you as extensions of ourselves, as particles that exist within us, and we seek to help you understand yourselves better. You can understand yourselves as all that is, and at the same time as human beings experiencing limitations. You can begin to see yourselves, your lives, and others as if you were source energy peering through a fogged lens that prevents you from seeing everything and knowing everything. You may not be able to be everywhere at once with your physical body, but you can feel that you are there, and still know that you are operating within a human physical body. You want to bridge this gap between the non-physical and the physical. You want to bridge the gap between source energy, or God if you prefer, and the human being. You want to bridge this gap because you are spiritually awake, which means you know that no gap exists, but you want to go beyond intellectual knowledge. You want to experience it viscerally. That is what you are called to do. That is the point of every journey, no matter how it may appear on the surface. Now, you can begin your life without knowing this truth, that we are all composed of one being. But at some point, when you awaken to this truth, then the time comes to put this knowledge into practice, to express it in words. Let it be what you think, what you write, what you speak about, what you know of yourself and others, and you will live a life of freedom, joy, creativity, love, peace, abundance, and everything you desire. If you try to do everything based on the conception of yourself you were born with, that of simply being human, you will exhaust yourself. You will eventually fail at many of the things you attempt to do and blame your genetics or think, I didn't try hard enough. I was too lazy. I was too afraid. Instead, recognize that you are not meant to use only your physical body, your will, and your mind to do everything. You are meant to rely on source energy, the non-physical, your soul, and to fuse the physical with the non-physical to give source a new experience. That is what you have to do, and it is happening more and more often, because you see human beings doing things they could not do 5, 10, 50, or 100 years ago. This is because of the change that is taking place. This is because more and more people are fusing with the non-physical and discovering how powerful and capable they are, even with the limitations of a physical body and a physical mind. Let the apparent paradox you face, as a being of source energy operating as a human being, be what drives you to complete your mission and become one with source, so that you can have the best of both worlds. The best of all worlds, in fact. We are the creators, and we love you very much.